Welcome back. In this tutorial, we'll talk about sending logs to an external Syslog server. By default, Kerio Control does not send all the logs to external Syslog server. You will have to specify what logs to send to an external Syslog server. So an external Syslog server might be a normal Linux Syslog server. You can send to McAfee Security Manager, that is Nitro. You can send to Splunk, IBM QRadar, HP ArcSight, the Elk Stack, or even SolarWinds Log Enterprise Manager. In this scenario, I will configure my Windows Server 2016 as an external Syslog server. On that server, I'll install Syslog Watcher and I'll install version 5.07. You can download the Syslog Watcher trial version from syslogwatcher.com/downloads. You will have to make sure that TCP or UDP 514 is open on the Windows firewall. From the Kerio Control UTM, we will send the specific logs to 10.20.20.240 on port 514. That IP belongs to our Active Directory controller. So in this case, we will send peer-to-peer traffic to the external Syslog. Back to a Windows server, I'll start my browser and I will Google search for Syslog Watcher. Under the downloads, I'll then download the trial version. The download is initiated. After the download, I just have to right click, show in folder, and then there is the file. I just have to double click to install. I'll install that, click next and next. So when you get here, you can see that it's asking if you can add this service to the Windows file. So you can click next. So this means it will open port 514 TCP and UDP. I'll click next. Then I'll click close. I'll close that and close this. So you can see the service has been installed. So to start the service, I'll just have to double click. Click yes. Once I get to the console, I have to start the Syslog server. So I'll click start server. Then it will start. Once the server is started, it should be ready to go. Now let's configure Kerio Control UTM as a Syslog client. I'll have to log in back to the file as an admin user. And then I'll have to go to the logs so that I can select what logs I want. So under the filter, I have active peer-to-peer logs that I need to export to a Syslog server. All these logs are coming from Ricardo's machine, that is 10.20.20.11. So I like to send all these logs to a Syslog server. So I'll just have to right click on any of the logs and then I go to log settings. Under the log settings, I'll select external logging and then check Syslog logging. Then I specify the IP address of the Syslog server. So in this case, we are sending to server 2016. So that will be 10.20.20.240. Then I'll click OK. Back on the Windows server, you can see that our Syslog service is receiving logs from Kerio Control. And you can see that the logs are peer-to-peer traffic that is being denied.